YouTube, what's going on? What's happening? As always, I am Hadou Kid, and today I'm bringing you a Gears of War weapons tier list. I've had a chance to play through all the Gears games, so essentially I've been able to try all these weapons at some point in time. Some of them I still use today, others I don't even recognize some of these, to be honest. I've been wanting to do this list for a while, just because as much as I complain about some weapons and I love some weapons in the game, you know, might as well make an official ranking list. Some of you might agree, some of you might disagree. I'll be interested to see what the general consensus is on what everybody thinks about where these weapons stand in the rankings. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right on into this. All right, what do we got up first? So I had to look this one up. This is the Spot Grenade. I think this came from Gears Judgment. As you can see, it didn't make it past Gears Judgment, but it essentially is a grenade that you would throw and it would reveal the location of the other team. So it's kind of like a limited UAV, I guess you can call it. This one, again, it never really made it past one game, and I mean, they just put spotting in the games. So are we starting at D? I'm gonna put this at a D. I'm not gonna lie. Essentially, they made a mechanic that got rid of the weapons need in general. So not the best start, but we gonna start with just however the list is set up. Also, I want to just state that these are the pretty much opinions of a veteran player, but by no means a professional. You know, I think I'm pretty good at the game, but I'm not MLG or esports and none of that stuff. Just for what it's worth, you know, I think this is what the general consensus is, at least from my point of view on what these weapons usage is like, on how effective these weapons are, and overall popularity, effectiveness, and sometimes if they're just cheap. Let's be honest, there are some weapons that were made just to make the game easier to play, and I'm gonna factor that in. So next up is the Boltok. Boltok is a pretty legit pistol. You have to be good. You have to have good aim with it. You have to be good. That's pretty obvious. You have to have good aim with it. But when somebody's nice with the Boltok, it's a problem. Right now, I'm feeling A. I haven't yet come to terms with what I want to put S and even S plus, because S plus is serious. But I think I'll put it at A for now. And then at the end of this, I'll take a look and see if there's anything I want to shuffle around. Just make sure it all makes sense. All right, the shield. The shield was in Gears 2. It may have gotten to Gears 3 too, I don't remember. But the shield was in a couple of games. It kind of, when they brought in those big dudes who essentially walked around with a shield, they decided to incorporate that into multiplayer. Really, I only used the shield in Horde because really you just wanted to set up perimeters, that you wanted to block off openings so that, you know, enemies couldn't get through unless you saw those dudes who were riding like the locust dogs and stuff. Then they just knock it over and you'd be like, oh shit. I mean, the shield was cool for what it was used for. It wasn't great, but there was nothing really to it. I want to put it C. I think C is where it'll land. Again, it was there, but it never really made it long term, and that one may switch, but I'm feeling C right now. Just seems like its usability was kind of minimal. All right, Boomshot. Boomshot is a great weapon. It's one of those power weapons that you definitely want to make sure you grab on the map when the match starts, because it can be a game changer. What I will say is, it seems like splash damage from the Boomshot has changed a lot from game to game, especially with the newer games as they update them online. There was no real consistent level of like strength, and I mean, you can buff and nerf it as you need to. Nonetheless, the Boomshot is always a killer weapon, no pun intended. You can't go low with the Boomshot. I'm gonna put this one at an S because it's a heavy weapon. Again, it's not too hard to use. It's very effective, and it can really, I think, change the tides of a match, especially when it's objective based, because You get enough people in the right area and it'll scare them. So this next one, I actually had to look this up. It looks like some weird, I don't even know what you would call this. It's a grenade launcher. I think it's called the Booshka. It's from Gears Judgment, and again, played Gears Judgment, wasn't the biggest fan, but I vaguely remember this weapon. It's kind of hard to gauge it off of how limited, you know, my play of Gears Judgment was. But essentially, when I think about when you use this gun, you never really, when you shoot the grenade, it doesn't explode immediately, at least not from what I was seeing. I had to kind of watch a couple of videos, we can refresh my memory, and there was a delay to it. It's kind of like the drop shot, how sometimes it doesn't immediately go off. It takes a second to initiate the explosion, but even then it's like, it's pretty easy to dodge in this instance, whereas the drop shot, you only have really like a second and a half to react, and if you're just in the wrong position, then it's a wrap. I mean, it was a grenade launcher, so it seemed kind of effective. I'm gonna put it at B. Anybody who played Gears Judgment like religiously, let me know in the comments what you think about this gun, because again, it's just not one of those memorable guns. Not that Gears Judgment was one of those memorable games. Anyway, let me know what you think, because this might have been a very effective weapon in the game. It's just not one of those things that I think, and when you think Gears of War, you don't think of the Booshka. All right, now we got I call it the hammer. I forget the actual official name of it, but the hammer in Gears 5. It's new to Gears 5. This weapon is broken. Pretty much if you pick up the hammer and you just know how to sneakily move around, or you just know how to get around, the amount of armor you get when you get shot with this thing, it's not gonna, most of the time, it's not gonna stop you from swinging. It's not gonna stop you from getting a kill from miles away. So this is a tough one because it's obviously somewhat close range, but again, it can go through some covers. It can go, if you're in front of somebody with a hammer, you might as well put the controller down. So this one is one you got to take into account the strength, but at the same time, it's kind of broken. I can't put it low though, because I mean, if you really get it, it's not like in every map, and if you get it, again, you gotta really still be close to people, but it's a showstopper. I'm between an A and a B right now. The question is, do I put the hammer at the same level of the Booshka, or at the same level of like the Boltok? That's even tough. I don't know if you can do that. I'm gonna put it A for now, and just see if this gets broken up a little more. All right, now we're into the Breechshot. This is one I didn't recognize at first glance, but in Gears 5 they actually brought this one back, like just for a special event. It's kind of like the Markza, but the rate of fire is way slower, and it's pretty much like a long shot, just without like the scope attached to it. In Gears 5, this was broken when they put it in. I don't know if it's still in the game, but this was broken. If you could get a headshot with a Markza, if you got a headshot with this gun made it insta kill. So again, it's still really slow rate of fire, so you got to be pretty precise with it. But again, you're talking Gears of War, movement isn't like crazy or anything like that. It's not like you're jetpacking around or anything. So this is a pretty good one. I honestly have to put this one, I think, at the same level as the Boltok, because it's a pretty good gun. It didn't really get much usage, but when they had it, especially with as much ammo as they gave it, it was a problem. So I'm gonna stick that one at A. Actually, the more I think about this, when I think about the hammer up here with these, it's just tough because of what I want to do, I think, is this. And that's mainly based on, again, the Booshka just didn't last the test of time. So I think I'm going to stick with this. Again, let me know in the comments if I'm just tweaking, because this might be a very effective grenade launcher, but again, it kind of just faded away, and in some sense, you know, that should factor in the fact that nobody really even wanted it to come back. All right, the Buzzkill, Buzzsaw, one of them two. I hate when people pick this one up because it is just so annoying, especially in the sense that this is, as Gears games went on, they started to introduce more weapons that kind of transcended where you were positioned in cover. And when you think about Gears, the whole reason Gears was an interesting game at the beginning of it was because it was so primarily cover based. So kind of having these weapons like this one, where if I'm tucked away in a strategic position and you can just ricochet this shit off the walls and still kill me, I hate when people pick it up. Honestly, it's slow. It's like a 1-2 Buzzkill, no pun intended. But this one I gotta put it at a C too. It might be a personal opinion for that, but this one just doesn't, as far as the heavy weapons, it's like one of the worst to me. There's another one that I kind of don't really see much value in either, but we'll get to that one. The Claw.
The Claw.
This is a pretty strong weapon too. If anybody picks up the Claw, I'm almost more afraid of the Claw than I am the Lancer. And that's just because if I start to get lanced, there's a slight chance I can get away. I can dip out, get into cover, try to recover if they're not gonna push me. But with the Claw, the second you start getting them bullets in you, it's almost a wrap. If you're like in a close proximity, there's not really much else that's gonna happen. You could low-key lose a shotgun battle against somebody with a Claw. So where do I put this one? It is a heavy weapon. I almost want to put this one up there with the Boomshot. Because of the strength, I think I'm gonna keep it at an S. All right, next up is the Cleaver. This one is kind of like the hammer, but not. I guess what I mean by that is it was cool being able to use the Cleaver because, you know, the guys who walked around in Gears 2 like hunger, they were cool, and then like they would drop it, and then like the idea that you could use their weapon, I think, was the whole excitement factor of this weapon. But the mobility of using that versus the hammer is just not the same. You also don't even, I think, get the armor that you got with the hammer. That was something they just put in Gears 5, probably just to make it more fun to run around, you know, clobbering people. This one, I gotta put this at D. If I remember correctly, just walking around with this thing, I rarely got kills with it. It was more just like a cool fun factor of using something that the actual Locust had. But when you look at the hammer, it just doesn't measure up. Okay. What is this? I think this is that weapon that I was mentioning I liked less than the Buzzkill. It's that I don't even know what this is called. The Cryo gun, the freeze gun. It's the gun that freezes people. I don't see the point of this. I get the idea of the map that you play on that has this gun where if you shoot the ice, you essentially get frozen. That's a cool mechanic as far as environmental, you know, just dangers, and I think that works for the map. I don't think this was needed in a gun. I think it probably was just created so that you could give it to another big Locust Scion and say, here's another variation of the Scion or whatever. But this one is kind of pointless. Let's just do that first of all. If you're outside of range, it doesn't matter. As long as you're not looking somebody dead in the pupils in front of them, I mean, you can most likely get away. And again, it's like there's not really much great usage for it. So if you get caught, you get killed by that, I mean, it happens, but that's in D. The Digger. So the Digger was a Gears 3 weapon, and I didn't like the Digger much either. Not that it wasn't effective, but I used to hate when people would kill me with the Digger, because it's one of those weapons, again, that goes past the cover. So you're in cover thinking you're all right, and you see this little Diglett coming at you, and next thing you know, you're dead. I mean, you can move out the way. I've been killed a couple of times. Sometimes I'm trash, but man, the Digger used to upset me. But it was still effective. It's kind of like the Dropshot, which I guess I can just do these two next to each other. I think the Digger is slower than the Dropshot. Let me know if I'm incorrect about that, but I want to say the Digger was slower. because the drop shot is pretty, I mean, if you have to travel across the whole map, it still takes a while, but it's pretty quick. And the detonation on the drop shot is like, again, if you right on somebody, it's instant. You can get headshots somehow too. It's weird. These I almost want to put in the same category. What I will say about the drop shot, and I don't know if it's just me or if it's the drop shot, is sometimes when I place it and it detonates, maybe the splash damage is less than the boom shot or some of these other explosives, but there are many times where people just get away scot-free and I have to reload and they heal, and it's like it's only 2 bullets or 2 screws, whatever that is in there, and you're out. And I can sometimes not even kill people with it. Again, that might be me, but yeah, I think because of that I can't put these at like higher than a B, but I probably can't put them lower than a B either. I'm gonna put these at B. Yeah, because they're not bad by any means, don't get me wrong. It's just they can be hit or miss. Again, no pun intended. The Embar. Ooh, we're getting into the snipers now. The Embar is a good weapon. The pros, I mean, it's a sniper. It is so strong that when you do hit people, sometimes they just explode. Like there's, you know, with the long shot, you can down people at best, but with the Embar, you can just completely obliterate people. So that's a plus. I know some people, they prefer the Embar over the long shot. That's not me per se, but again, you can't fault it for that. The only downside, of course, with the Embar is there's a charge. So, I mean, if people know how to, you know, move correctly and move smartly, you can get around an Embar user. But again, if they're good with it, you still might get body shotted. It might be a wrap. So the Embar, I'm gonna put it either S or A. The question is the Embar as good as the Boomshot and the Claw? I'm gonna put it A. I might come back to this. The only thing is, again, this is like, if you're close enough, this is pretty easy to use. This is easy to use. You still have to hit your targets with the Embar, and there's a skill behind the timing of the Embar. So, I mean, you can charge it and charge it over and over, but you have to know when to charge, when to shoot, when not to shoot. You need to be watching your opponent. It's a pretty complex weapon to be good with. So I don't want to fault it for that either, but just because of, again, the overall control these weapons can give you, I'd be more afraid of people with these weapons than I am of the Embar if I move carefully. So for that reason, I'm gonna keep it at an A. The Enforcer. This is another one that I don't personally like. I don't think they should have put it in the game. I don't know. I'm kind of just not a fan of this one. Of course, the distance is the limiting factor. I mean, it's a submachine gun, so that makes sense. But I mean, it's a submachine gun, I guess you can say. It does what it's supposed to do. And again, you see Embar. There are like Embar users. Like if you see somebody running around with an Embar, they're probably using an Embar the whole game. It's not really like a I'll pick this up and try it out thing. It's like you either use it or you don't. What do I put the Embar up here? I mean, it's effective. Again, question is, do I put it up here? I don't think so. Do I put it here? I might put it here. If it was me personally, just based on what I use, I would put it C, just because I'm not a fan of it. But I can't, I think, put it at C because of, again, its usability and like effectiveness and close proximity. Because of that, I think I'm gonna leave that a B. I don't think I can put it up here with these. Just, I couldn't do that. But I think a B is a safe place to at least drop it. Again, if you're an Embar Enforcer user, you know, you might have it higher. This is just where I have it because you either use it or you don't. And if I'm not close to you, good luck. All right, flash grenades. I yelled that for no reason. Like I really threw one. Flash grenades, I like them. What I'll say is when the Gears 5 first dropped and they put these in, everybody and their mama was flashing grenades left and right. you would literally not be able to even see what's going on because your screen would just be white. And then they made it so that you started with smokes, which was like you can still switch to flashes if you wanted. And as far as the effectiveness of flash grenades, these have also had their splash range kind of tweaked throughout the years. They were kind of crazy broken at first. Now I think they're manageable. I still wish I got a little more splash out of that, but again, if they did that, it'd probably be back to broken. So these are probably as balanced as they probably can be at this point. It's weird to measure grenades with all of these too, but a well-timed flash grenade by you or a teammate can literally be the deciding factor in a really, you know, heated battle. You throw one of these, if it hits somebody, again, they can't do anything. They can wall bounce, but I would say these are pretty effective. I would have to put these probably at an A. They're good. They're not, again, it's weird measuring them up to guns, but they're a great assist grenade that really helps in tight situations and can really help you overturn like a point. The Gnasher. No, I'm just playing. Well, can you really think I would do that? That'd be crazy. The Gnasher. What can Gears of War and the Gnasher are like peanut butter and jelly. I mean, this is in my opinion what made Gears for a lot of us, which is weird because Gears was kind of known for the Lancers with the chainsaws, you know. Just that was the kind of the eye catcher of the game, which, don't get me wrong, we'll get to the Lancer too. But when you talk about Gears of War, you think of close-up shotgun battles. If you're a Gears vet from way back in the day, you would know you had to press the B button, you know, get them melees in, unload the active. I don't know, it doesn't look right without the gun, but you will unload your gun, you reload it, let it go, and then it's a 1v, you know, 1v1 me then, essentially. If you thought you was the best in the lobby, you and him go over in the corner, figure it out, come back, let me know what happened. What else do I need to say about the Gnasher? It's definitely a sensitive topic because the tuning on the Gnasher has fluctuated so much, and again, it's important because it makes Gears. I don't think there's a question though. I gotta put the Gnasher S+. Without the Gnasher, Gears isn't Gears. Let's leave it at that. Okay, how are we gonna top the Gnasher? Not with the Gorgon Pistol. I'll tell you that much. The Gorgon Pistol. This is, I think, what Kentis runs around with. You know, the priest dude who don't know how to use his inside voice. I was never a big Gorgon Pistol user, and again, it kind of seems like the Enforcer in a lot of ways. Maybe a little worse, to be honest. I might really put this one as C, actually. I only remember, again, I didn't use this a whole lot. I remember it more than I remember the Booshka or whatever. But again, the Gorgon Pistol was never like the strat in any games I played. You know, people rarely ran around with it. I mean, sure, it's like more automatic than the Snub Pistol, but I don't see this one even being better than the Enforcer. Let me know what y'all think. They might be pretty comparable, and I'm not remembering it as well, but I'm gonna leave it as C. I think that's a C tier weapon. The Hammer of Dawn. Hammer of Dawn. It's weird, this is multiplayer, but I don't even think of it as a multiplayer gun, just because it's so like key to turning the tides and campaign and stuff. And like the whole backstory behind the Hammer of Dawn and that is actually really interesting. Like if that didn't get through in the story, like just reading on the wikis and stuff, you can learn a lot, or the comics of course, like you learn a lot about just how the Hammer of Dawn like just changed the way of war. It's like the nuke essentially. It's crazy. That said, the Hammer of Dawn does have like a load up, so you have to aim it, you have to wait for it to charge up, and if you're anywhere near it, it's a wrap. I'll say that right now. The problem is it's really finicky where you can even use it at. You can't use it indoors, you know, satellite, not 5G, can't see through the building. So if you're indoors, can't use it. I mean, halftime in campaign, there's only specific times you could use it because, you know, the satellite had to be online, and at one point like they had to return it on because they just couldn't use it. This is a weird one. I like the Hammer of Dawn. It's super cool, and I mean, even trying to get it in other Gears games, getting like a team wipe with the Hammer of Dawn was such a good feeling. When I put it up with these weapons though, I think because of how specific the circumstances have to be, I'm gonna have to put this one at a B as well. Again, I like it personally. It's just cool. It kind of brings me back to the nostalgic days of Gears 1, especially when you're fighting like the Berserkers and stuff. But I think compared to these, just 9 times out of 10, you grab the Hammer of Dawn, you're only gonna get so much usage out of it. All right, now we got the Hammerburst, and they have both versions of the Hammerburst in here, which is pretty cool. Of course, now the Hammerburst is like a, what is it, 3-round burst or something like that. So it's kind of like more of an assault rifle than this one. This one was more of like just a regular rifle, or like the it just shoots one at a time. But if you were quick with a trigger finger or a modded controller, whatever you use, I guess. But if you had a good trigger finger and you had a Hammerburst, this gun was pretty nice. I used to actually, when I started, obviously everybody used the Lancer, and when I found out about the Hammerburst, I was a Hammerburst user through and through. Because again, if you were quick enough with your bullets, these bullets did so much damage that it was easy to down somebody. It's almost like the Snub Pistol, but I would argue that back in the day, I would rather use this over the pistol. And the pistol, you gotta put more bullets in, but this one, it was nice. Where do I put this though? Ah, man. So this one is nice too if this is your gun. I actually see a lot of people still use the Hammerburst, and it's nice. I've been down plenty of times by it. I don't think it's better than the Lancer per se. So this one, that's tough, man. This one is hard. Because this one, again, I don't know from an overall standpoint how many people had quick trigger fingers or really were nice with the Hammerburst like that, or even liked it. Would I put this one up here? Let's start down. It's not a B. I wouldn't put it at a B. Again, if you know, you know. A. It could be an A. So now we're talking between A and S. I think because, again, it's kind of dependent on like just how you're using it. I don't think I would put it here, but I would put it here because, again, if you were good with it, I think it was a really effective weapon. As far as this one goes, it's easier to use. I don't think it's as effective. I don't know. I would take a Lancer over this, or I mean, even a Retro, and you know, a Lancer GL. So I'm gonna put this one lower. This one might be a hot take, so let me know what you think. This is just thinking back to using this one versus this one. I have to put this one over. Incendiaries, flame grenades. These are good. I've definitely been hit in the face with these, and man, you have to. Kudos to whoever throws these and just can like land them right on you. Also, I just kind of jump into them sometimes. We're not gonna talk about it. They're pretty effective. Again, they have to be in a proximity that, or they're like, they go in a line, like the flame kind of expands out horizontally when you throw them. So if somebody's behind it or something, it's not really gonna get to them. They're kind of easy to maneuver around if you can kind of trick the person throwing them. But they stay on the ground, and I mean, if you run into it, then you only got a couple seconds to realize you're on fire, and otherwise it's a wrap. So these, if I put these up here, I guess I got just measure grenades by other grenades. Are these more effective than flash grenades? I wouldn't say so, just because, again, Ooh, sorry about that. There was a random bee in my house. So I left these at A. I think I'm gonna have to put these at B, because again, like, flashes kind of more turn the tide. Incendiaries are good too, but if you miss, it's kind of, you know, I guess it's on to the next one. So I'm gonna leave that at a B. Ink grenades. Let me just do the grenades all together. Ink grenades. These I remember them. I feel like they were really easy to escape though. They did damage, but they weren't like the shot grenades, because shot grenades will stun you. I don't think these stunned you. So ink grenades, I mean, they were funny, you know, but I don't think they're very great. I'm gonna throw these at a C. Again, more useful than a spot grenade, but I think, yeah, I think C is right. Shot grenades, however, I will say these are kind of like in between the flash and the flame, because again, they only cover a certain proximity, but they stay there for a while, like the flames. But at the same time, because of that, like, it feels like, I guess the flames also kind of help block off an area, but these have that additional just stun factor to them. I would put shock. I'll put shock at A. Again, these situationally depend on how you use them, but I mean, if you throw a shock in the right spot, it lasts for a long time. It'll stun you if you try to just push through it. I think it's a good way to help kind of control the direction of the other team, and overall just it's pretty strategic in usage, so I'll leave it there. Frags. Frag grenades, I mean, been around forever. The splash damage has fluctuated from different games, but there's not a lot of feelings better in Gears than just tagging somebody with a frag and running the F away. Of course, assuming you don't get caught up, but frags, oh man, I gotta throw the frags up here. Maybe S+. Frags have all of the qualities of, well, I'll say a flash, like they don't stay around for long, but again, getting a multi-kill with a frag, you almost want to, if there's frag grenades, every time you spawn, you want to go pick them up. They're that important. They've made it through every Gears game. There's not really a whole lot, I feel like, else you have to say. Like, frag grenades are that good and that useful, so I'm gonna put them at S+ with the Gnasher. Smoke grenades. These are also an oldie but a goodie. They don't do the damage, of course. Fun fact, if you tag somebody with a smoke, they will go down, so you really just kind of did that to disrespect, but nonetheless, you know, funny. Where do these go? This is a weird one because, again, there's no like damage they're gonna do to you, but they can be very helpful in kind of, again, in just trying to control the match. They've made it throughout, and they used to stun you. I think they used to kind of knock you over back in the day. I didn't like that. I will say I didn't like that. It gave them more usage, but we don't want to talk about that. But I put these here with flashes and shocks. I think I might drop this here. Again, it's not really gonna stun them, and it's not gonna block off the area, but I mean, it's a good distraction. It'll really throw off whatever everybody was doing. One thing I hate is when my teammates throw smokes, because when my teammates throw smokes in front, especially if I'm sniping, it's like, well, now you just kind of screwed me too. So that makes me want to knock them down a little bit, because same way with the shocks though, you can kind of screw over your teammates if you just throw them willy-nilly, because I need to see what's going on. I'm gonna knock these down to a B, just because they don't do that offensive damage and they can be just as distracting. I'm gonna put them at B. Some people might even argue they're C. I think just because they can be useful in the right situations, I'll leave them up here. These, again, I had to look this one up too. Didn't remember it. Another Gears Judgment special. This is the Stim Grenade, one that, again, didn't make it. Do I think the concept is cool? Yeah, because, you know, the idea that you can throw a grenade and pick up your teammates or something, I think that's cool, but 9 times out of 10, if somebody got downed, you're either too far away to pick them up in the first place, or, I mean, you're in the battle and you're not gonna have time to pick up a grenade to throw. So, like, these are cool in concept, but I hate to do this too. I'm gonna put these down here, because again, they just go pick up your teammates. All right, Lancer GL. This is a pretty good gun. It's faster than the Lancer. A lot of times when people pick this up, it kind of reminds me of the Claw. Like, I'm kind of afraid of 1Vs with this. If somebody else has this and I have a shotgun, it can be a problem. And you got the grenade launcher on top. I think this one is an easy S. it's a newer gun, but again, you got the explosive nature of it. It's like these two almost kind of together. You got the assault rifle nature of it with the fast rate of fire. You got the explosiveness. I think S is a fair place for that one. The Lancer, and this is again, this is kind of what brought gears to everyone's attention when you got the chainsaw through a living alien being person. Lancer is good. I'll say in the last Gears games, the past couple, it's definitely changed as far as power, a little bit of everything, I guess you could say. The game has become more spaced out, I guess. They've kind of tuned it so that it's more for shotgun battles and stuff now. But I mean, still, if you got a Lancer and you're just lancering across, I'm talking to somebody like I'm talking from a quick play perspective, I'll say. Because if you're in ranked, especially, you're definitely using the Lancer. And it's, again, it goes hand in hand with the shotgun. This one, to be honest, you know, again, it's kind of a staple of the Gears community. It's frowned upon now, of course, because again, when you're just trying to have fun, run around with shotguns or just use funny weapons, last thing you want is somebody walking up to you from a distance, shooting you with a Lancer. It's like, come on, bro, just, you know, put the gun down. Don't actually put the gun down, but like, just switch shotguns. We do the thing. Let's do this like, you know, like vets. I think because of the latest controversy around the Lancer, I'll put it here. I feel like it could be S+, but again, just with the chainsaw and everything, you gotta love that too. But again, the Lancer is really controversial these days. You either love it or you hate it. Again, professionally, I'm sure this is as useful as it gets. But taking into account both sides of the spectrum and just overall usage, I'm gonna leave it just a hair under the Gnasher. The Longshot, my favorite weapon by far. I am definitely the guy running to the Longshot, trying to beat you from spawn so I can pick this up and try to get headshots. There's nothing like somebody running towards you and they hit you with that Superman roll and you just boop. This one I'm probably a little biased on, but again, I'm already thinking this is over the Embar. So I'll drop it here. Let me explain why I put it at S. If you are a good sniper in Gears of War, this is a problem. It's easily up here. Not everybody's a good sniper at Gears of War. Because of that, I feel like I have to knock it down to S. Because again, the sniper can be a game changer, especially if you just got a trained assassin on your team who knows how to get headshots with the monitor off. Just because it's not, you know, it's not as just standard as the Gnasher, and it's kind of like you gotta have it, and if you don't have it, then you're just going back to the Gnasher. I'm gonna leave it at S. Personally, it's S+, maybe even S++ in my heart. But we're gonna keep it real. We're gonna leave it at S. The Markza. The Markza is a really good gun too. Again, it's very similar, I think, to the Breechshot. It just shoots faster. And similar to the Longshot, if you're nice with the Markza, it takes a couple more bullets, but it's pretty nice. I gotta put my bias aside for this one. Should I put this up there with the Longshot? I don't think so. I say that just because, again, when I measure this, not even just against the Longshot, but against all of these at S, I can't put the Markza at the same level as like the Boomshot, the Lancer GL. I just can't do it. I mean, I can put it with the Boltok, because again, the Boltok, it shoots slower, but it's still strong. And it's kind of like, it's the same, I feel like, group of people who use the Boltok and the Markza. Like, if you're a marksman, you're picking up one of these or maybe both. So I'm gonna put it at A, because it's like same rate of fire as like the Hammerburst here, but again, you get a nice headshot with it. It's a problem, so I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, so I looked this one up too. I know this one. It's the Mortar, but it just looks like some weird Nerf Super Soaker situation. So the Mortar didn't make it into the new Gears game, but it was super fun to use. I mean, if you played the old games, you know you had to charge it up a little bit. Again, not very mobile. If you were running around with the mortar, you were either just trying to have fun or you really knew where you could use it to get kills. If you were inside, you shouldn't get killed. Sometimes it kind of clipped through the roof, but again, we're not going to talk about it. The mortar, again, it's classic. I can't put it A. I'm between like a B and a C for this one. It kind of gives me Hammer of Dawn vibes, like Hammer of Dawn Dropshot combo vibes. But even then, again, these are all mobile. Like you can run around with these, whereas like similar to the shield and the Buzzkill and stuff, you really are just slow moving and it only had a short minute. I gotta put it C. I wish I could put it B, but again, you're much more mobile, much more better in position to get kills with the drop shot than you are the mortar. So I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, this is the Mulcher, I want to say. It's hard to tell, but I think that's the Mulcher. So the Mulcher was a pretty good gun, I'll say. Again, it was slow like these, but at least back in the day, it was the Gatling gun of Gears of War. So I guess for that purpose, I'll pull the Trishot up here. The Trishot is essentially a better Mulcher, to be honest, because the Mulcher, when you shoot it, the crosshairs expand and you're just spraying all over the place, and it's not as effective as a Trishot. So where would I put the Mulcher? The Mulcher is slow. Again, if you're far away, you can't really use it. I'm gonna put the Mulcher, I wish there was like I should make like a C+, but I might drop it here just because I think the trend I'm seeing here with the heavy weapons, at least, is that they're just too slow. Because like mobility is important, and if the gun isn't crazy good, then and you're slow, 9 times out of 10 you're not really gonna do much with it. You just might be wrong place, wrong time. But the Trishot now, you can, if you're good with this, you can snipe people with this easily. It's like the Mulcher, just again, the crosshair stays fixed, so you got to make sure you cool it down and stuff. But the Trishot is a good weapon in my opinion. Do I put it A or B is the question. I don't think I can put it S. Let me think about this for a second. Again, mobility kind of comes into effect, so when I measure it against like a claw, I don't think it's the best. But then as far as rate of fire, strength, I mean, you can put it over all of these if you really wanted to. I think I'm gonna put it A, just because I don't think it's got enough in it to go S. But what I'll say is, if somebody else has this at S, I wouldn't blame you. It's a very strong gun. But let's say you had a good sniper or somebody with a boom and they just see you kind of lollygagging across the map with a Trigun. It's a Trishot, sorry, Trigun, great anime, check it out. They see you just kind of wobbling around with a Trishot, you're probably dead. So I gotta put it at an A for that. The one shot. I've never really used this. I know this is like it feels like more campaignish. It's like a heavy long shot. And again, if you can get a kill with it, that's great, but just use the long shot. I don't see this one. Again, it kind of has range, which makes me not want to put it at a C. All of these are kind of slow and just limited by range, but I'll put this one at a B. Just cause, I mean, again, I could argue you put this one at a D. I don't really know anybody that used it. Let me think about this. Measuring this up against the Hammer of Dawn and that's tough. I'll drop this down to a C. And if you're a one-shot fan, I apologize. I was gonna give it a B, but when you kind of measure it up against the weapons already in that class, I think you can't put it up, I mean, against even the grenades, to be honest. Like, it's a very niche weapon. It's not like useless, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm giving it a C. The Overkill. Oh, buddy. I'm gonna do this because the Overkill and the Sawed Off. Personally, I don't like either of these weapons because in my opinion, they made the game too easy. What I mean by that is, again, Gears started off really bare bones, you know. Gnasher, Lancer, start off with those two and a Snub Pistol, and I mean, the grenade, like smoke grenade or frag grenades you pick up or something. But it's almost like, again, there is some skill to using the shotgun in Gears. That's the whole, most of the people who play Gears now, you know, they're trying to build up their wall balancing and shotgun. It's all a battle of the shotgun masters, I guess. It's weird. But when I think about the overkill, it is overkill. Is it useful? Yes. It is broken useful. It's not, you don't even have to be a reasonable shotgun range distance apart for this to be useful for you. And that's kind of my issue with it, I guess you can say. This is probably more on a personal level, but I don't like this gun. I don't think it should exist. I felt the same way when the sawed-off came out in Gears 3. This is some people's favorite gun. You know, so I'll take that into account. Like, a lot of people use these and they're effective. I just want to throw out my 2 cents as like a Gears vet. Like, I mean, I hate when people use these. They seem kind of cheap, but that's, again, this, I'll try to keep that bias from, I won't take a point away from that. As far as putting these up against other weapons, I don't think I can put them at a C. They are limited by range to some extent. The sawed-off actually had much more reasonable like range limits. If you were far away with the sawed-off, you weren't most likely going to get a kill. But if you were anywhere near somebody, like near, yeah, it's over with. So I'm going to put them together. You probably like one more than the other. I think I just see them as the same thing. What I'm hearing in my gut is that most people might put them at A because of how useful they are. Again, I kind of do, there's like a stank with them for me, so I want to do this. I think I have to do that. I'm gonna do that. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with that. You know, this is just my opinion. I know, especially for new players of the game or people who came in at 4, you know, and 5, or 3 for this matter. You know, the sawed-off is some people's jam. You know, my sandwich just got peanut butter on it though. All right, the retro. The retro is kind of the same exact story as the sawed-off. It was like, oh, we have the Lancer, but let's make it dumb powerful. So the retro kind of falls in the same category of like, they put this is how it felt when Gears 3 came out. It's like they put it in, it was like, why did we do that? Why did you do that? We have the Lancer. This just seems like an easier way to play the game and get kills. Now what I'll say is, I mean, the retro obviously has some more range to it. The recoil on the retro Lancer is actually like a big factor. So you can't just, you know, constantly fire with the retro. You really have to kind of, if you're up close, you kind of can't. You know, this, again, a shotgun battle versus somebody with a retro, you might lose. But if you're far away, they really have to, it's not as easy to get a kill as, you know, with a Lancer, let's say. Also, charging and running up on somebody and just getting a bayonet on somebody is so much fun. Like, that's the one thing I can take away from this versus these. Like, this, at least there's some fun to this, and it's really useful. Again, like, all my bias aside and just my boomer mentality for some of the stuff I like in the old games, I would definitely, I'll put the retro at an A. Some of you guys might have it up here, again, especially when you measure it against the Lancer. And arguably, if you put it up here, you can make that argument too. But just for me, I don't use the retro. I kind of like, I'm old school with the guns. I like to keep it like this. So for that reason, I'm gonna keep it down here. But keep on charging. The Salvo, the rocket launcher. I like this gun a lot. I don't like when other people have it. It's a problem. It is heavy, but the splash damage is ridiculous. This is newer to like Gears 4 and 5, but this gun, this heavy weapon, this is a big one. This is like when I think about the two heavy weapons, I think of that, and I think of the Trishot that are like if somebody has this, you don't really want to be in their line of sight. You can be in cover and they shoot the ground next to you, you're dead. For that reason, I think I want to put this up here with a Trishot. Those are two very good heavy weapons. Again, these are slower like the other ones, but their offensive capabilities are pretty great. The Scorcher. This is one that like they put in the game, then they took it out, then they brought it back. It's stupid broken in Gears 5, I think. Obviously, don't run up on nobody with a flamethrower. I think that's the moral of the story. I haven't learned that lesson yet. But if you're far enough away, it's almost the same idea as the freeze gun, wherever it is down here. You know, they can't really hurt you, but if somebody runs in a room with a flamethrower, it could be a problem. So like the Scorcher is good. Do I put it up here at A? I don't think so. I think the range capabilities kind of do render it essentially useless if you know, play it smartly. I'm gonna put it down here. You know, I like it. It's a cool gun, but I don't know if I can put it in the A category with the rest of these guys. The pistol, the Snub Pistol. Obviously, it's just a starter pistol. Not a lot special about it. The argument is really similar though to the Hammerburst. If you have the pistol, which everybody starts off with, you get an active or whatever it may be, and you got a trigger finger, this is a problem. You know, you see a lot of people, usually when you're playing quick play and you see people pull out the pistol, it's like, he over there sweating. You know what I mean? Like when you're trying to win, this is the epitome of the 2K lean forward. Like, it's game time. The Snub, like I said, everybody starts with it. It's not overly powerful, but in the right hands, it's a problem. You don't want to be out in the open when somebody has a Snub and they got a lock on you. This might be controversial, but like, I'm looking between S and S plus, and I almost have to put the pistol at S plus. I mean, it's hard to compare it to the Gnasher, but when somebody's nice with the pistol, nice with the Gnasher, and again, frags are just up here because of their usefulness too. Like, it's not fun. So I'm gonna keep this up here. Maybe a hot take, but you know, again, when I'm trying to get serious, I pull out the pistol. I put the Lancer away. All I need is a pistol and a shotgun. If I got frags, I'm using this to set up my battle with the pistol from a distance, or my battle with you close up with a shotgun. So that's what I'm leaving it at, S plus. The Torque Bow. Torque Bow kind of got Embar vibes in the sense that, again, you got to charge it up. If you don't charge it up enough, it's kind of limp. Pause. But it's still really good. I use the Torque Bow to this day. It's effective. It's fun. The executions are cool. Like the one where you shoot it up in the sky and it kind of rains down on the person. I really like the Torque Bow. Question is, do I like the Torque Bow as much as the Embar or as the Longshot? So what I'll say about the Torque Bow, first let me do this. The reason I'm doing that is because, again, if you get hit with a Torque Bow, if you get hit at all, if it penetrates through your skin, you're dead. There's no in between. That's key. And then it's kind of like the Embar, but better in the sense that if you shoot near somebody, you shoot an arrow at their ankles, they might also be dead. It has explosiveness. It has splash damage. You got to take that into account. So I think I got to leave the Torque Bow at S. It's a game changer when somebody picks it up. You don't want to be out in public. I don't think it's S plus just because you got to charge it up and such, but Torque Bow, without a doubt, one of the GOATs. What is that again? So, y'all, this is the Vulcan Gatling Gun. If you don't remember it, don't feel bad. I didn't either. This was in, was it Gears 3? I think it was Gears 3. It was Gears 3 or Gears Judgment, maybe. I don't remember. But all I remember, or all I saw, I looked this up. This gun is broken. So it's like, what is it? It's like a Trishot Mulcher. It's basically like the gun that's on the helicopters that fly around, the ravens or whatever you call them. It's like it's on those, and it takes 2 people to move it. So you can hold it by yourself. You can't move out of your spot. It's almost like the heaviest vacuum cleaner you ever seen in your life. But if you and another person have it, they're kind of carrying it around, and you got, man, if you are in front of somebody, look up the videos for this. Just look up Vulcan Gatling Gun Gears of War. It is nothing but like, oh man, it's insta kill. I don't even know how to rate this one because it never made it really through Gears. But this gun is broken. It's like you don't have to even really aim, just point in a direction and have at it. I mean, really, because you can't move with it, it's kind of trash. But because of how broken it is, you can't put it at D. I mean, can you put it at a C? Because C is heavy, but again, this thing will kill you, but so will the one shot. You put it up here, can you compare this to like a Dropshot and like all this other stuff? I'm gonna put it C, because again, it kind of came and went. And if you got caught by it, you were probably dead. But again, if you don't got a friend who's willing to pick it up with you, you're probably dead, the guy using the gun. So I'm gonna leave it there. Maybe they'll bring it back, maybe not. Either way, who remembers this? Last but not least, we're finishing on the Talon. This kind of gives me Gorgon Pistol vibes. Like I don't pick this up. It has bad recoil. I didn't want to end on a C, but I'm gonna put this one at a C. Okay, so that is our Gears of War list for multiplayer weapons. I want to take one more look through this. See if I made any errors. See if I want to switch something around. If you think the Lancer should be S+. Really, if you put this up here, you probably started with Gears 1 or Gears 2, or this is just Gears at its finest, classic Gears of War. So I mean, to be honest, this looks kind of nice. I just know these are also great weapons. Do I want to leave the Lancer up there though? You know what? I think I will leave the Lancer up there because again, like whether it's casually or professionally, I don't like when people do this because sometimes I just want to play Gears for fun. I just want to run around shotgunning, close up. You know, I know again, controversy wise, we don't want this to drive Gears. Gears has always been Gnasher based, but I'll put it back. I'll put it at S+. Again, this is just the Gears classic starter pack. Yeah, I think this list looks good. You know, I was kind of skeptical trying to come into this remembering some of these because again, some of them are judgment or some of them just were one-offs, but I like this list. So let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. Would you move any around? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think, especially guns you think they should put in Gear 6 or guns they should not bring back ever. If you liked it, leave a like, share with your friends. Again, I'm kind of interested what the community feels about this one, what you guys' favorite guns are. Let me know what your favorite gun is. I appreciate all the support up to this point. Please subscribe if you haven't. You know, I'm getting more subscribers all the time, and again, I'm truly grateful for that. Just being able to pump this content out, share my views with you guys, get your feedback. It's a pretty cool experience. So yeah, thanks for tuning in as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.